This is Insectophobe's Nightmare 4. Whenever they make an Insectophobe's Nightmare episode, that means the episode's gonna be related to bugs or anything with 6 legs. So after Neil and Fry fumigate Flower's flower shop and Ruby mistakes her for a fairy godmother, Less Restrained, Less Dumb, who changed their name back to Freesmart again, are up for elimination because they received the less petals from Flower. And unlike last time with Fiery and Gelatin, there are only 4 real Freesmart members left, which means no matter who's gonna get voted out, only one member from Freesmart will be eliminated this time. Which personally, I am a bit sad that one member has to leave already because I was hoping that all 4 members would stay together until they reached the merge. But it was inevitable that at least one Freesmart member would have to leave the show before that stage. But first, Ruby won the prize again, and she gets to choose one contestant to shrink with a shrink ray. So she decides to shrink one contestant that doesn't like Freesmart that much. I wonder... Yeah, it's Pin, because that's what I always did with these punishable prizes. Why pin out everyone else? Because you know the joke. She can't talk, so she can't say she doesn't like or hate Freesmart. So Ruby decides to shrink her because of her silence, so now she looks like a real regular Pin. I know Pin wasn't much of a wise leader last season, but she's not that mean anymore. She's actually a good person in this season. They don't have to abuse her that much. Anyways, the 3 Freesmarters that are saved will get an accessory that they made for Flower from the last episode. Ruby is the first one saved because, like last time, she not only received the most likes, but the least dislikes as well. Book gets the second one saved because the viewers really do like her new cover now, and she was really this close on winning the last challenge if Coiny didn't grab the last petal at the last second. Which leaves Pencil, the Freesmart member, and Ice Cube, the Freesmart alternate. And the first Freesmart member that will be joining the fortress is... the Vengeful Ice Cube. And that was the Cake and Steak ceremony that I was afraid was going to happen to Ice Cube, because I really do like Ice Cube in Season 2. She really played a great game out of all the seasons she competed on Battle for Dream Island. She helped Freesmart with the sleeping challenge, paint 70% of the Eiffel Tower pink, and she almost brought all the contestants of Battle for Dream Island again to join her beautiful Face Devotion Institute. But unfortunately, there are some explanations what led to her elimination, and that is with the ice cream challenge, the last Cake and Steak, and the Flower episode. During the Flower episode, whenever Freesmart makes a new makeover for Flower in exchange for a petal, no matter what accessory they come up with, Ice Cube always calls Flower ugly, no matter what. I really don't blame Ice Cube on hating on Flower after what happened last season, but she should have stayed positive over the makeup plan. At the ice cream challenge, she was dead for most of the episode, and it was her own snowflake what ended the challenge. But the real Achilles heel that led to Ice Cube's downfall on Battle for Dream Island again is with her last Cake and Steak. When Ice Cube won the last prize from the last Cake and Steak, everyone was pretty much traumatized what happened to Pin when her face was removed, ever since Ice Cube decided to remove it for revenge. And during the last elimination ceremony, although Ice Cube was in the bottom 2, it was still a really close voting battle between her and Spongy. If Ice Cube picked the immunity prize over the face removal on Pin, she could have stayed in the game much longer than expected. While she is still competing on Teapot as of now, I will still miss her during the duration of Battle for Dream Island again, and I hope Freesmart will avenge her. But there is still a plus to her elimination. It's better than how Teardrop was eliminated from her elimination. And with Ice Cube gone, we're down to the final 11. We reached the halfway mark of Battle for Dream Island again, which means it's time to drop those expectations, because the teams are not merging in this episode. They're still competing in teams. And since Ice Cube was eliminated, Freesmart are trying to find more alternates from the other contestants, so Ruby decided to use the swap token that Tennis Ball used on Golf Ball, but it's already dried up because it's already been used. So Flower used her fairy godmother-like magical powers on the swap token because that's a thing she can do now, which allows Ruby to bring Needle to Freesmart. So although the bit was a bit confusing in how Flower actually did it, it was actually a real smart move on using the swap token on Needle than how Tennis Ball was using it on Golf Ball. Oh, and Fry decides to go rogue again, so now he's a team of 1 again. But before they can start the next challenge, Flower was killed by Spongy because the scuba wasn't big enough to lift him to the fortress. Gumball decided to use Flower's cell phone to call someone to host the show, and under the last content, it just so happened to be the bug she's been hiding inside the flower shop. That's right, our new host for Battle for Dream Island again is a bunch of bugs. We had TV, we have Puffball Speaker Box, we have Fiery Speaker Box, we have Puffball Speaker Box again, we have Flower, and in this episode, we have bugs. I wonder who's going to be the next host in the next episode. Non-existy? And for this episode's challenge, it's called Bug-Filled Dodgeball Insanity. Oh, now I get it. So the rules of this challenge are pretty much like dodgeball, but with some major differences. If they get hit by a bug and get poisoned or any other dying method, they are out of the challenge. Recovery abilities are allowed for this episode. The last team left standing will be immune from Cake a Steak, which means all but one team will be going to Cake a Steak, but only one contestant will be eliminated from the next episode. And based on from what I experienced from watching this episode, I can see why Nico really loves this dodgeball game. I really do like all the strategies the teams use to throw the bugs on the other contestants while also dodging them, particularly with the scenes with Fry since he is a team of one again, so he has to try so desperately hard to defend himself. But I must admit, he was really good in the challenge than he was with the ice cream challenge last time. As for the recovery abilities, it's only around Tennis Ball and Golf Ball being the only two members of Team No Name now, so the strategy is to get some anti-poison from the Queen of the Bugs, so that they can be immune from the poison. But there is a catch to the antidote. It's the same antidote that Gelatin used on Teardrop, and it has some side effects. One character has to eat another character. Lucky for them, the episode contains a bunch of recommended characters, and all of them are attending a concert. And this is why this episode is very special, because they actually have a very special guest star for this episode, and it's actually an internet composer known as Kevin MacLeod. Now, for those of you who don't know, Kevin MacLeod is actually a famous composer who is responsible to some of these royalty-free music that you can find on the YouTube audio library under the YouTube dashboard. And during the making of the Battle for Dream Island episode, they used some of his music on pretty much all of them. In this episode, he not only created his own object character, Pan Flute, but he also voices him as well. He plays as the conductor that's conducting his best work, Call to Adventure, and they actually used his music before on the Yo-Yo Mountain Challenge. When the contestants enter the concert, it follows a very specific pattern. The contestants throw bugs at each other, the recommended characters are poisoned or screaming in pain, the other audience members are trying to shush them because it's rude to interrupt a concert, while Pan Flute is trying to continue the music, but little did he know that some of his orchestra members are also being poisoned, and the music keeps getting lower and lower and losing all the instruments like woodwinds, drums, and more. But they don't just fight in the concert, there are other locations the contestants travel, like the Bug Cave and the forest where Evil Levy resides. And if you look very closely on the contestant's icon box, it shows where exactly they might be. Oh, and remember that one running gag where one contestant tried to survive this Flappy Bird style maze and they made it to the end without a scratch on them? Well, in this one of them actually got hit midway. And there are also two arcs that are happening in the episode that are not only fun, but also give some of the contestants a lot of development, like Pin, Coiny, and Ruby. With Ruby, she is reunited with all her 35 gym sisters, but they're really not happy to meet her. They are still upset that she got picked for Battle for Dream Island. You see, all the gyms wanted to compete on Battle for Dream Island, but the speaker box said that he's looking for one applicant for now. But when Ruby ate a lot of sugar and got super excited, it really caught the speaker box attention. And ever since then, all Ruby's sisters got really jealous of her and wanted to get back at her with two ways. One, they all go to gym school instead of her, and two, they decided to take her place during the duration of the episode. What I mean is, after that little family reunion, whenever it cuts to Ruby or the other gym characters, they always change to a different color since they all share the same voice. We don't even know how all 35 gym characters managed to switch places without a trace. As for Coiny and Pin, for some strange reason, it cuts to this weird looking kaleidoscope scenery and we hear Coiny and Pin communicating with each other telepathically for some reason. I'm guessing it's supposed to be a throwback to their mind powers that they had from Battle for Dream Island again, episode 7. And during their conversation, Coiny is trying to figure out a way on how to help his best friend, while Pin is conducting the perfect plan to get her entire body back, including her limbs, face, and regular size. She is really sick and tired of these punishable prizes Puffball, Ruby, and Ice Cube gave to her, and honestly, I don't blame her on all of this. If this keeps this up, there'll be nothing left of her. Even though I'm not much of a fan of bugs like Flower, this episode was seriously weird, and I loved every minute of it. It was funny, unpredictable, really enjoyable, and we can officially confirm that Kevin MacLeod is part of the Battle for Dream Island universe. But the real question remains, now that the gym characters have taken Ruby's spot, what happened to the real Ruby? Will Pin ever get her body back? And who will stay in the final 10, and who will be eliminated? Well, I mentioned this before. We'll just have to wait and see on the next episode of Battle for Dream Island again, episode 13.